record holder for the most yards ever passing in a single game, Rohan Davey. Emmitt Smith joins us in studio.
It's the first time I played in such a place that had that much noise.
Jock, throw a rock and you'll hit a 3-star cornerback in Louisiana.
The great Gordy Rush, former LSU Tiger, longtime reporter, analyst, boss man, is here to join us today. Gordy, thanks for coming down.
Thanks
Good
for
to
having
see
me.
you.
Good
Happy
to
New
see
Year.
you. Yes, sir.
Happy New Year. The more things change, the more they change instead of stay the same. We're still trying to get adapted to free agency season now in college football.
Right. I mean, you and I, one of the great things after the bowl game, we could shut it down unless LSU was still playing. We could shut it down. And in the February, the second high school date, didn't have a whole lot of action. But now, it's all new. Nobody's really sure how this thing's going. And it's a 24/7 cycle right now.
Yeah, I mean, back when you played, when the bowl was over, you had a decent idea. Who's going pro? Who's coming back?
Sure.
Who's Tommy Hodson going to be throwing to next year? Now we've got a brand-new quarterback, 9 or 10 new wide receivers, an offensive line that needs to be rebuilt. Caden Durham and Harlan Berry, they're the seasoned veterans,
yes.
At least when it comes to LSU and playing there. So spring football, it's going to be very important.
Well, I mean, what's that look like?
Yeah.
And I mean, can you even field a spring game? I mean, does a spring game even matter?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much that is new right now. And, it's changing. And obviously this coaching staff has a little bit different approach to the transfer portal and how they build out a roster than what Coach Kelly had the last couple of years.
So the big piece that they've been looking to get, and I guess the portal was open for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we had unrealistic expectations, like the portal was going to open and the waterfall of
right.
5-star guys was just going to come in to Lane Kiffin. But Sam Leavitt, the quarterback from Arizona State, he's now the most important member of this football team, the guy you build the offense around and in many cases build your team around.
No, outstanding talent, and he obviously did a lot of great things at Arizona State. What was interesting about Sam is the injury that shut him down in the middle of last year. And, that's something that I think is hard as a coach and staff to break down. Can you get him in here? And, is he going to be willing to put that foot up on the trainer and see where that is and get a diagnosis and get a feel for where you are? Because that's a lot of money now. It's a centerpiece. It's the most expensive person probably on your roster, and you're about to invest in him. And what's the status of that injury?
Yeah, because you don't want to hear, I need to sit on the sideline during spring.
No. I mean, you want him to learn the new offense, and which is a whole – I think it's a whole different seg that we could talk about because, you go from starting over to scratch just about every year. Now, if you're able to get a couple guys that are 2 or 3 years, and Leavitt can play 2 years here, obviously that's to your advantage.
Well, offense is all about timing and getting to know each other and chemistry as opposed to maybe defense is attack, right? So how does that all come together now? I told you off the air, I called Matt Malk on the way over here. It's been over 20 years.
Yeah.
But in 2002, he has the same injury as Leavitt.
Okay.
So the foot injury.
I forgot about that, yes.
At Florida,
right.
Liz Frank, am I saying that right?
Yeah. DJ
Stingley had the same thing, right? Derek Stingley, not DJ. I crossed my DJ is going to be DJ Pickett is going to be rich here in the near future, just like Stingley. But he said the biggest thing for him, he went through all of spring. Matt Malk did, but he said I went from like a 4.5 to like a 4.8.
Mm-hmm.
I lost a lot on my running ability.
Yeah.
So I guess you hope that doesn't happen with Leavitt because obviously he's shown he's a pretty dangerous dual threat quarterback when he's healthy.
Well, not only that, it's a key part of Lane Kiffin's offense. I mean, you think back to, the comps that I've heard, there's some people have said a little bit of Jackson Dart and his quarterbacks for the most part have been mobile and, saw what Chambliss did this year. And so you want your guy to be able to do that. That's a part of what this offense is.
Yeah, well, watching some video of Leavitt, I did notice that when he did pull it a few times.
Oh, yeah.
And run with it a few times. And,
right.
Garrett got criticized. The guy, the defense will never respect you if you don't pull it and run it a little bit. He ran a little bit this year, more than he had in the past. But you want that aspect. You want the defense to respect. And certainly Leavitt brings that to the table.
I think that certainly what Coach Kiffin's offense, he's for the most part, he's had a lot of mobile quarterbacks. And then I more and more, you look at our schedule this year, LSU and everybody that played, everybody was a mobile quarterback for the most part. And I think the game has games move that way. Not only the ability for a modern day option with some zone reads and all the jets and all the movement you can do with a quarterback, but the ability to extend plays. And one of the things that I know Garrett was hurt this year, but I think that at times during his career, people could pin their ear back, and they got after LSU, and that hurt LSU's young offensive line. Heck, the 2 years ago when they had the veterans, LSU was one-dimensional, and people were able to get a little bit more pressure than they should have.
Well, Blake Baker's defense this year, real quick, I guess I'd give them a B+, A- for the job they did. Now, they had that one stretch, I guess, when they went to Vanderbilt and A&M, where they struggled with Diego Pavia and then Marcel Reed. But then I asked myself, well, who doesn't struggle with a dual-threat quarterback these days with the rules and the offense and whatnot? I mean, nobody really shuts them down. But, I mean, that's what you need. The drop-back guy, I mean, LSU was able to, with Simpson at Alabama, kind of shut them down. The guy at Oklahoma, Mateer, they held him in check.
Look, I think that, even Ole Miss, you go back to the job that they did against Ole Miss, and they were on the field the majority of the first half in that football game. For me, the thing that the second half of the Texas A&M game got out of hand, and that was on both sides of the football. I think considering the struggles of the offense and not getting a chance to rest, and then the injuries built up, and when you lost weeks and you lost a couple of those pieces in there, there was some inconsistencies, I think, filling in some of those gaps. And you're playing some young guys, I think, have a chance. Some of them got a chance to play good, be good football players. Look, but by and large, I thought Blake did an excellent job, right? And certainly there wasn't, as Brian Kelly said, some complimentary football being played with the struggles that you had and statistically what you did on offense. I think considering how the offense performed, I thought the defense played real well.
Yeah, and I want to talk to you more about Leavitt and some of the more current stuff. But, we're both there in Norman, Oklahoma. I guess you had a better idea than I did. But, checking the phone, is Kiffin hired yet?
Yeah.
And watching the game. And is LSU going to beat Oklahoma 13-10 today? Are they going to pull this out on defense?
I thought they were.
Gave up the bust late in the game. But my goodness, when Harold Perkins intercepts the ball, puts you on the 4-yard line, you throw a pick the first play. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you just like, how can we be so bad?
I've already flushed last year, but I'm glad you're bringing it back. I mean, just the red zone stuff, just the, the frustrations in the bowl game. I know everybody's put the bowl game behind you. Offensively, we talked obviously about Garrett being hurt, and so it's hard to judge with that, and they just never got in sync. And the red zone again, it's back-to-back years. How many times you get down there inside the red zone and you can't come up with points? You're not dysfunctional. We're running jet sweeps on the goal line. I mean, it's the best play. Frustrating year offensively.
Yeah, I think Rohan said, our idea of creative game calling was we'll put Tradez on this side, we'll throw a lob to him in the end zone, and then we'll put him on the other side, and we'll throw a lob on the other side, And look, let me just say this real quick about some of the coaches that departed. Joe Sloan, I was told, made 1 B in college. So did I, but I didn't make any A's, and the rest were seasoned D's. This guy made all A's in college. He's a smart guy. He got hired by Kentucky immediately. I know a lot of LSU fans beating him up, call him a dunce, this and that. He's not. Brad Davis, nobody wanted this to work out more than he did. Hard worker from Bel Air High School in Baton Rouge. Worked hard all across the country to get this job. It didn't work out. And then Cortez Hankton, he got hired pretty quickly by Ohio State. So he's doing okay. So some of these coaches that didn't work out, they did their best. We'll see what happens with the new coaches, but you work with these guys.
Yeah, look, obviously a good coaches. I'm not in those meeting rooms, and I'm only seeing the Saturday product. I'll see the Thursday practices. I saw the Thursday practices, and if whoever didn't translate to game day scheme wise, and they weren't able to stretch the field vertically. Second year in a row, they couldn't run the football. If you can't run the football in this conference, you're going to struggle. But again, all that's in the rearview mirror. I mean,
all right,
this guy likes to run the ball, right?
2026. So I don't want to compare Sam Leavitt to Drew Brees, but I'm just thinking about now how this free agency works. 20 years ago, the Saints signed Drew Brees. I'm thinking of how this stuff kind of rhymes now, in which, and I know high school recruiting is kind of the same, but Sam Leavitt, he goes to LSU, he takes a tour to Tennessee, he goes to Miami, he's got suitors, he's got people. How does the money add up? And he's got the injury, and kind of reminds me of Brees a little bit, went around, chose the Saints, had the injury, different kind of injury, but could we get him up and running in time for the season? And we know that the rest is history. So college football and how much it's changed and now become a professional sport. Yeah,
look, I think that I said this back in August. I usually go around and some people invite me to go speak and talk about it. And, for forevermore, as long as we're in this rev share and this model, the day and age of great football teams and college dynasties are over. Alabama and Nick Saban, right? And that run, 12-0, out the window. I mean, what Indiana's done is rare, and I think it's easier to do that in the Big Ten, where you don't have, I'm not trying to hate on the Big Ten, but top to bottom, you don't have the competitiveness, I feel, that maybe you have in the SEC. And there's no more bad teams, which is key. And, and what I said in August was like, hey, Vanderbilt and Mississippi State are no longer going 3-9. So Nostradamus didn't have Vanderbilt at 10-2. But my point is, everybody's got $20.5 million in rev share. Everybody's going to is going to be able to spend money with that. I think it's going to be even harder to play on the road, right? Because you don't have that parity. So going on the road, home games, you got a whole serve home games. I mean, LSU obviously struggled on the road. And so that's the new world that we live in college football. And that being said, chances are the way we're looking at it, every year you're basically reloading. Even in the NFL, Pat Mahomes is going to play for a decade with Kansas City, or you get to keep some guys for that. I'm of the thought that every year in the Final Four, I think you're going to see 3 new teams. Yeah. Kind of like what you see in NCAA basketball. I just think it's harder. Mm-hmm. It's harder to get there. And so you add that to now playing a 9-game SEC schedule, it's a grind. And there's no more competitive league than the SEC. I'll say that. And that being said, I think that everybody else, it's brought the SEC not necessarily down, but it's brought everybody else up because Alabama used to be 3 deep on the offensive and defensive line. They're not there anymore. Why? Because they can go get paid and go play at Indiana. They can go play at Duke. They can go play, name it, at Utah. And why wait somewhere where I can get paid and play right away? And I think that's evened a lot of things out.
Yeah, well, some things we see, the 20, 25-year-old version of ourselves, it doesn't compute in our brain to see Indiana in a playoff game smash Alabama the way they did.
Oh, no.
And you Google stadium size and stuff, and you see it. They play in a 60,000-seat stadium. If you're a power, you play in a 100,000-seat stadium. You don't play in a...
Look, man, I played at Purdue my freshman. Indiana's a basketball state, right? I mean, you have to recruit from outside that state to go get 80% of your roster.
In the cold.
Yeah, and Bloomington's a nice town, but I mean, it's not the most attractive. I mean, it's a nice camp, but yeah, I mean, and so... there's a reason they play most of their games in the daytime over there in the Big Ten. But yet, what Cignetti's done has been amazing, and I think it's a great example of what college football has become today. I don't know that you, as a coaching staff, you need recruiters. You used to be half and half with coaches and recruiters. You need to get the best coaching staff, X's and O's, that you can, because why? You're paying people now, right? And then you have such a big staff that you've got people that are recruiting almost a part of the time. And then I saw some number where how old his team was. It's one of the oldest teams around the country. Why? Because they've played a lot of football. Yeah, and I think that's what you see. LSU's getting people that have played snaps even in backup roles versus you're still going to recruit some top talent, but I don't think it's going to be as deep with as many green people.
Yeah, well, there's a huge difference between an 18-year-old young man and a 22-year-old man. 45 and 50, but at that age, as far as, how your body matures and your brain and all that stuff, big difference. And
well, you take a kid, Elon's in the news because of the backup quarterback, but if you take a kid and, play DB, so if I played 3 years at Elon, I've at least had live people throwing the football on me. And, there's something like being a center fielder and catching a ball. And there's one thing if you're sitting on the bench for 3 years, not playing in a game situation, and you get out there and it's the first time that ball goes up in the air and you've got to adjust and all that stuff, versus playing, I don't care, playing 3 years at Elon, playing somewhere at North Carolina State, playing something where they've played and you're a more mature kid and you've been able to evolve. And so now, you'll see some of the big programs, and LSU included, that instead of having an 18, 19-year-old kid that maybe hasn't played, you go get a DB from Southern that's played snaps, played football. You go get a wide receiver from West Florida, a wide receiver from Troy that has played in game situations, has had to get off of a jam, is just used to all of that cycle.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing teams move to that.
Well, to your point, Cinderella stories, right? Guys at schools that never would have got these opportunities in the past. No offense to Southern, they've done great things and they're a great HBCU and all that, but I've been here 25 years. I don't remember a Southern player ever going from Southern to LSU. We've seen it the other way around, obviously, many times.
Right. And I think the high school, the quarterback situation, I think you look at the kid who came in from Elon, Clark is his last name, maybe.
Yeah.
Is
it Jaden?
I mean, give me a month or two. I don't have to do anything till September.
Landon Clark. We got how many new coaches to learn? How many new players?
But it's an interesting thing. So, and Emil Picarella's from U-High. Mm-hmm. He could have certainly gone and played at William and Mary or someone in a division that's with Elon. I believe they went through the same camps and everybody did the quarterback showcase cases. So here's Clark that went and played at Elon and did all that stuff. And then here's Picarella, whose family went to LSU. He's right here in town, wanted to stay at LSU, knew he was going as a preferred walk-on, but hadn't got the snaps and all those things. But guys that, for the most part, have been on the same level coming out of high school. This guy goes to plays at Elon and is able probably, to get a paycheck and come here and to compete. And, we'll see how the competition goes and what have you. But I think it's interesting seeing high school kids now. At a receiver, I was working with the family that signed with an in-state school, had a couple offers, right, from some D1 schools like Southern Miss and Arkansas State, said, hey, we really like you. Can you hang around and not commit till after the portal closes?
Gotcha.
Do you want to wait on that where you're not sure, right, if you're going to be a part of their 2026 plans, or you're a guy they want a redshirt, or do you go to this in-state school where you can play right away, play for 2 years, and you're probably going to be, if you're productive, you want to bet on yourself, you like the guy at Elon, or somebody's going to come, and sign you in a transfer portal and probably make a little cash.
Yeah. Well, we've seen it as covering signing days over the years, kids that went to UL Lafayette or, Troy or whatever, are now getting kicked down to McNeese, Nichols, Southeastern.
Yeah. I think it all goes down, and as a high school kid, before you were going to your dream school. And I'm going there for 4 to 5 years, and this is what I'm doing. If you really want to play competitive football, where can I go get on the field right away? Mm-hmm. If I can't get on the field at McNeese State, do I want to go to Navarro Junior College and play right now? Because if McNeese State was interested and I go down there and get 30 receptions and 6 touchdowns, but I bet McNeese and some other people will be interested as well.
Yeah, well, and I'm plagiarizing from the Advocate.
Okay.
And this is how many pages of paper.
I mean, you do work. I'm impressed, right?
These are the list of the guys who LSU has gotten in.
Yep.
And these are the ones that are out. It's 33 out and 28 in as we're sitting here.
We might be here a while.
Jacob Bradford, is that new? Did that just happen?
Yeah, this is great. So Jacob Bradford just happened yesterday. Outstanding player at Catholic High. I think he played some special teams and what have you.
His brother Blaine going to Ohio State.
Blaine,
right?
no question. He comes to LSU. I think he was committed to Houston. So what happens if he goes to Houston, gets on the field a little bit earlier last year, and then what's the market for him? And so it's a little bit of going, both ways with that. So I'm interested to see where Jacob Bradford from Catholic High, very good football player, where he lands as we're all learning this whole process?
I don't think we've said Lane Kiffin's name yet. At least I haven't. I've done a bad job hosting this thing.
It's okay.
All right. So Leavitt's got a big arm, right? He can throw.
Mm-hmm.
He can make all the throws, kind of like we said about Garrett before this year. They've signed 9 or 10 wide receivers so far. I noticed that several of these guys average a lot of yards per catch, 17, 18, 19 yards per catch.
Right.
Now, how does a wide receiver from Hawaii or Old Dominion translate? You said West Florida, right? That was one of the guys.
West Florida, Old Dominion. I mean, Old Dominion's had 3 guys. Old Dominion have had 3 guys signed, wide receivers signed some Division I deals, and I'm like, I forgot. Old Dominion, we don't usually get to see
What's
Old
their
Dominion.
mascot?
The Monarchs, baby.
The Monarchs.
The Monarchs, right? I mean, they were playing on TV, and I did a double take. I didn't realize. I thought it was the Citadel.
Winston Watkins, wide receiver from Ole Miss, that they got. And so, have you met Lane Kiffin yet?
I have not. Well, I've talked to him over the years.
Yeah.
In fact, this year he said, "Hey, would you go get Coach Kelly for me?" So I was on the field. I mean, Lane. Obviously, what you say about him? A brilliant offensive mind. Did an incredible job at Ole Miss. Very, obviously, very opinionated, and he and his staff with the job what they've done with the portal, it's been really effective. Heck, last year's team I thought was a better football team than this year's team, and this year's team made the playoffs and went a little bit further, and so a lot of excitement, obviously, with Coach Kiffin coming over.
Yeah. I kind of wonder the people that know Lane Kiffin well. Do they even know him well? I mean, he's kind of a man of mystery. From what I've heard, talk to him about football. That's what he wants to talk about.
He loves football, absolutely. He's 100% football from what I've heard,
Yeah, and much different personality, but the baseball coach at LSU, that's what they say about him, right? I mean, talk to him about baseball. And he's consumed with it. And look, not to bash the guy that Lane Kiffin replaced, but a lot of people said, well, would Brian Kelly get on a plane and fly to Knoxville and chase Leavitt all around the country to be the quarterback, or would you say, hey, that's the assistant coach's job?
No, Lane's definitely got a different tack than what Coach Kelly did. I laugh about Jay Johnson. My favorite story I tell about Jay Johnson was Chris Blair called me, and as you well know, all the coaches' radio shows are at 7 o'clock, right? And they've always been that for years. And Chris was like, "Hey, Coach Johnson, I'd like to meet you." He's got kind of one request for the coaches' show. Fire away, what you got? It's like, could we move that up to 6 o'clock? Because if we moved it up to 6 o'clock, I can go back to work and get 2 hours of work done. And I'm like, who am I to say no, right?
Yeah.
To the head baseball coach. Moving it in the afternoon drive on a music station is not ideal, but 7 weeks out of the year. But it gives you an idea who Jay Johnson is. And, you see whether or not all the social media
what do they call that? Traffic? We got to move the traffic around.
We got traffic reports in the middle of the Jay Johnson show. We got our last traffic update. So.
But all the commercials and stuff. What do they call that when you got to move that?
Oh, traffic. Yeah, the traffic log. So
yeah.
We had to move it from that. But much the same way. I think you look at the hours that Coach Kiffin's there. Whether those are actual pictures or those are just trolling a little bit from 4:30 to 11:30.
Well, and look, a big question, at least from some of us in the media, it's not going to matter a whole lot in the wins and losses and what matters the most. But is Lane Kiffin going to do a radio show at TJ Ribs?
Well, I heard that he did half of a radio show last year. He did 2 segments and then like a coach or assistant coach. So
yeah, maybe like in the
that's
fifth
Chris
floor.
Blair's, right? I only get asked to be the substitute when Blair's got a conflict with basketball in the last week of the year, and it's made from some memorable moments, like when coaches are in a hot seat, or when there was the March for Less Miles. Or where you get to.
I remember that March for Miles.
March for Miles.
They started at walk-ons and went to Tiger Stadium. There was like 10 of them.
I just look up and when the coach not going well on a hot seat or at the end or something like that. That's usually the card I draw.
Well, I know that you were not the host tonight of the fishing hole with Ed Ogeron.
No, I did not. I didn't.
We got a fishing hole for a guy like that. But Chris Blair, let's move on to football. Let's get back to football.
Carla Cat. Studio microphone.
Gary. How about Gary?
My man Gary.
I thought Gary was gone.
Yeah,
He called the station
back.
there. It's good to hear Gary's voice. He's still
just when you think they go away, Dwayne, some other people, they just reemerge.
That SEC Miracles documentary, they did a great job. Pastime Pizza, I think they had the Evil Twins and Big Ragu. They interviewed them in the round and everything. Perfect.
Still there at the coach's show. That's perfect.
Because I think Darren had a similar idea, and I said, Darren, I think ESPN just did it. He's like, oh, shucks. So, all right. So, Kiffin, we're excited. We think they're going to score a lot of points. He kept Blake Baker.
Yeah.
It's like surgery, right? I mean, if you lost Blake Baker, he's attached to Kevin Peoples, to Jake Olson, Corey Raymond's back, so you feel pretty good about that side of the ball. Now, your offense was atrocious this past year. Not to the bowl. Did they score over 25 points against a FBS team?
I think so. Yeah, no, they did. I mean, I was trying
back to last year.
I flushed the bowl.
What we're improving.
I flushed that bowl. That bowl starts too late. I mean, by the time when you pull out of a game at 1:06 a.m., you put it past your memory.
I can hear your old Jim Hawthorne. Bob, 8:15 for a kickoff.
Yeah, 8:15. His last game was the Mahomes Texas Tech Bowl, and when he broke down, he didn't know Texas Tech's tradition. Which that game started at 8:45, by the way, and all the tortillas got thrown on the field. The first time Texas Tech scored, that was their tradition. And he said, "Bud, there are Frisbees all over the field." I said, "Jim, that's tortillas." Now, why would they do that? Great
See,
memories, right?
Doug Morrow. Jim, those are tortillas. Bob, with sour cream, jalapenos.
Why are they throwing food on the field, bud?
56-27 game, by the way.
Oh, by that one, I didn't complain. That one was probably 2 a.m. We got back to the hospitality room, and they closed that down at 3:45, only to be told that the year before Brett Bielema kept it open to 5 a.m. So we got kind of thrown in the grease there that we weren't as partyful as Brett Bielema.
Tales of LSU Minor Bowl appearances.
Yes, it is.
Brought to you by Gordy and Guarantee. But the worst bowl experience, I was too young, but I heard all the tales of the 85 Baylor Liberty Bowl. That before you got there, freezing cold.
It was awful. They practiced in the parking lot up in Memphis. In a Circle K on Christmas Eve. So I've heard this.
Nothing to eat on Christmas. Yeah. Nobody got anything to eat.
They went to Circle K. That's what it was. They went to Circle K.
Chili dogs and nachos.
Yeah.
Chris Carrier tell you all about it.
Yep.
Okay, let me try to get the car back on the road here. So we have a general idea what the team's going to look like. And, man, like you said, the 9-game conference schedule, too. To think that the customer now will get back-to-back home games, Alabama and Texas. I mean, you're getting what you pay for now.
I mean, there's no doubt. As a fan, you love this schedule, right?
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here. I ain't going 12-0 against the schedule. You figure. I mean, you got Alabama, Texas, at Tennessee, third week in November, right? You could have snow in the Smokies.
Well, the last 2 games of the year,
Arkansas, right? And this historically, you need. I don't need to say it, but this team has never really played well in the past in cold weather. I mean, we show up like we're playing at Soldier Field. And
Sam Nader took his shirt off that 1 year at practice, but it didn't. It was 2014 in the freezing cold there.
Arkansas comes out in sleeveless shirts and shorts, and we're wearing scuba. So look, it's a tough slate. I mean, and that's for everybody. It's not LSU, Clemson to boot. Right, and and to give you what a crazy time it is now, Clemson lost a DB to Vanderbilt. I mean, in what college year does that ever happen? But that just happened this past week, and so look, it's where we live now. I mean, it's for everybody in the SEC. It's a war every week.
Aiden Burrell in the portal, the kickoff guy, he's leaving too. you know. So, so your schedule, and just because you beat Clemson last year doesn't mean you'll beat them this year. I mean, they'll be motivated, and they were 7-5, just like LSU. They're hearing it. We got to get better. So that'll be exciting. Season opening game, Tiger Stadium.
I had a client at lunch. It's like, what do you think about next year? I got no idea. Not only do I know who's on our team, I'll know who's on anybody else's team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all we know is what colors everybody's going to wear. I mean, it's going to be a totally different look.
When you used to go to K&B or Eckerd's in June and buy the Athlon or Lindy's preseason magazine and, getting excited about football. I mean, magazines don't really exist to an extent anymore, but that's going to be hard for those guys to try to come up with a preseason top 25.
Who's going to come up with a prediction?
Yeah, give me till August.
I've got to think that spring football is going to be less of a focal point now because you've got you're trying to get everybody up to snuff and are you going to have the numbers to basically people stop doing spring games? I don't think Ole Miss did a spring game last year, so you really don't know coming out of spring exactly what you have. And now these coaches, because they're just getting all these new people from scratch, you need that full kind of teaching period to get them there and to get them to where you want to be, and that includes fall camp. So I'm with you. I have no interest in reading Street and Smiths this year. No idea. I'm going to save the $12.99.
Who was the guy that did the magazine that wore the big puffy jacket? Max Emthinger.
Yeah.
I met that guy.
Yeah,
one
he's
time.
down. Yeah, the Max Emthinger used to do the recruiting.
Yeah.
And I've still been trying to get with him. He didn't have a copy. My senior year, I was rated in Southwest United States as a number 77 prospect. Number 78 was a running back out of Oklahoma named Barry Sanders.
Oh, wow.
And, it kind of worked out differently for both of us. But I wanted to my parents' house, I'm still looking for, in those boxes, a copy of that. But Max was the guy back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a whole projection of the whole United States.
Emmitt Smith was sitting where you are sitting right now. He came through during the season, and I believe he was like a manager on the basketball team, just this short little guy, and everyone said he wasn't going to amount to much, and he's the NFL's all-time leading rusher.
Yeah, I wound up at Escambia High School, which was all the McCorveys came from. Daryl McCorvey, great big-time program out in Pensacola. Emmett was real deal. I remember seeing Emmett's film. At some point, he might have been a manager.
Now we got Marshall Faulk coaching over at Southern now.
How exciting. Yeah. Look, I actually went to and talked to Marshall, went to the Arizona-Colorado game in our open week. I did Army Air Force with my kids, and then we did
nice.
Arizona-Colorado, which Boulder's incredible.
Yeah. Right,
and obviously a rough year for Dion and all, but I think that's exciting for Southern University, really, to get somebody like Marshall. He's put together a great staff, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do out there.
Yeah, good stuff. What else about LSU here? It'll be interesting to see how much media access we will get, how much we'll be able to see, or will we be at the mercy of the LSU Twitter feed when it comes to what they decide to put out from practice and see. I hear Kiffin's pretty guarded on what we see. We're going to go back to the Les Miles days of toss sweep to Leonard against air, 5 minutes, and get out.
Here's your 15 minutes of stretching. Stretching.
Big cat
individual.
drill. I know they used to get a kick out of us. They would do the big cat drill, and the entrance to practice was here, and the big cat drills over here. And so here we all are sprinting to try to get a few big cat shots.
Brian Kelly was great media-wise. I mean, very few coaches are going to let you watch a whole practice, a whole scrimmage.
Yeah. Well, I just need some more shots of Lane Kiffin wearing purple, walking around, and just some visuals.
You got to get up 4:30, 5:30. Circle some yoga places. About 8:15, natural tea, and it's your best shot.
Well, it's amazing. Maybe it's not amazing, but what people complain about, like he goes to the Texas Bowl, he's not wearing any purple and gold. He's got on the brown.
Well, I think that was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
it was the right thing to do, and nobody just because he's Lane. Like Brian Kelly did the ESPN, and then he was out of there before the end of the game. That didn't get camera or anything else. And look, if I didn't have to be there, I would have been out of there too.
The funniest thing too is some people said, "Well, is he going to coach the bowl game?" I'm like, "No. It's a bad idea." So in the what to gain and what to lose.
Well, I went out to two practices during bowl time. Yeah, it's a tough situation. I thought they handled it here. I mean, I thought both staffs handled it professionally here.
Well, I think Frank Wilson was the perfect guy to man that ship and to get it to the finish line of the year and to keep the guys together and playing hard.
I thought, who's the Western Kentucky game aside, those three games, I thought the team played hard.
Yeah.
especially against Alabama. I thought they played a heck of a football game, just dysfunctional on offense. And same thing at Oklahoma. You're a better team on that day in 2 plays, and you could beat.
And then the whole dynamic too. So much has been said about this dynamic between Ole Miss and LSU and the coaches, and what should have LSU allowed and what should have Ole Miss allowed, and they're all victims of the calendar.
It's a calendar, and I don't think there's an easy answer, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think just the nature of the rivalry and what have you, there was no easy way with that. I think it was the right thing, with the important part that was Charlie Weiss called plays, right? I mean, to leave those kids without Charlie Weiss and whatever coaches they couldn't fill in, I think that's the right thing. And Ole Miss played well, so it's about those kids, and I think what was right for those kids is for those coaches to be able to get up there and coach.
I'm just trying to imagine being a Charlie Weiss where my cell phone's ringing about the offensive players that we need to get out of the portal to come to LSU. And, oh, by the way, I'm trying to come up with a game plan to go to the national championship.
Yeah, what room did they go to after the team meetings? It's like, all right, Ole Miss staff meeting here at LSU. You guys are in the softball team meeting room over there. And then, even you go into individual breakout rooms, right, where that's a one-on-one time with the coaches. And, with so-and-so individual coach, it's an LSU guy. Is Pete Golding putting a plant in there just to make sure, okay, guys, now we've talked about the game plan. Who's coming to LSU? I mean, it's just all of it. For the most part, those guys are professional. I know, but I mean, that's that's the sort of stuff that social media and what have you, they just eat up.
Yeah. Well, you got to wonder in those meetings who's giving each other the side eye, and you're leaving us. And I like what Nick Saban said. It would be nice. I mean, I don't know if pick your cliche, toothpaste out of the tube, horse out of the barn, but if you could have like an OTA thing in May. Yeah. And let everybody go the distance with their teams and coaches and whatnot. I'm not an Ole Miss hater. I don't like what happened to him. It would be nice to see Lane Kiffin stand on that sideline for as long as possible and coach him to the end. Do they beat Miami if he's the coach? I don't know. We'll never know. But
I do like the high school day going back to February. Let's start there. I think that's better for those high school kids. One signing day in February. That way you do that after the portal. The portal comes here, and I get where it ends, and then let them figure out the rest. But I think they're going to reset that. They can't go through another year like that.
But can we get, are kids going to still graduate from high school in the middle of the year and come to campuses or not,
somebody
to get a jump on everybody else?
Yeah, I'm with you. Somebody else's problem. I mean, it's a mess right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, how long have you been doing the sidelines?
That was 15 years. So this will be hopefully 16. For me, my kid kid's gonna be a freshman and plays football. He loves it, so he enjoyed it. Those first
freshman
time
in college,
freshman in high school.
Okay, all right. Well, I know you kids are growing fast.
Yeah,
and they got speed.
They're all taller than me. So,
and it's Chris Blair. Time flies by. So Chris is going into his first game that he ever called was at Lambeau Field when LSU played Wisconsin in 16, right? So
yeah, that was after the Texas Tech game, 16. That's right.
Yeah,
so he's going to be 10 years, I guess, 10, 11.
Already?
Or it's been 10. I think it's been 11 now.
Yeah. Jim Hawthorne's already been not calling the games for over a decade now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And Doug, great thing they did for him on the field this year.
Yeah, it was great for him to get out.
Jacob Hester in the booth. With Chris Blair, and you're on the sidelines and painting the picture. And, I did think of you when I looked at those 2 last games of the year at Tennessee and at Arkansas this year. You better pack a coat, right?
Well, look, the last couple times I've been in Tennessee, it's raining. I don't know. I came out at halftime, and I remember that's when Coach O had the shirt out and jumping up and down and at halftime.
They were counting down to that storm all week. Like this storm is going to be moving through the LSU Tennessee game, and man, when they kicked off the second half, you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you. It was the rain, the wind, and everything. Danny Etling had a big night, ran for a couple of touchdowns.
Last times I've been in Tennessee, it's rained, and we played interim coaches both times, so it's been a mess. So.
They had Butch Jones's picture on the side of Neyland Stadium the week they fired him. That was humorous as we showed up. So
I think Brady Hoke was the coach one year, and another one was after Derek Dooley. So
the year that Coach O's first year as a full-time head coach, I think there were like 7 coaches fired in the league. It was like Hugh Freeze was out at
and
Ole Miss.
We
before
caught
the
a
year
bunch,
started.
right? We caught a bunch.
Caught
of
him, yeah.
I do remember.
Kevin Sumlin and all those guys. So anyway, I've taken up enough
Good
of
to
your
see
time
you. All
talking
good.
about fired coaches and whatnot.
Coach O
But,
jumping up and down with his no shirt on in the rain, and
I see Coach O
Neyland
all the
Stadium.
time on the levee.
Yeah.
I see him doing podcasts with everybody else. I'm like, Coach, yeah.
Get him.
Come on, Coach. Come on down. Come sit where Gordy's sitting right here. We'll talk. It'll all be positive. We'll talk 2019 for 3 hours if you want. I'm Jacques Doucet. He's Gordy Rush. We'll see you later.